8:30 news. Eight 30 news is out. No more news for the day. Looks like it's gonna be a good trading day.
Make all your money by Bitcoin.
Wake up every morning. New York close. Right off the hourly open. Big squeeze. Took out some short-term positioning. Big wide of shorts. Longs took profit into it. And since that, we've seen the market just drifting sideways in the normal stair-step fashion it tends to do, and it's just going to revert the move. So I think it's probably going to retrace the full move. I think the trend has ended, for sure. This 1 hour uptrend, not even, it was more, it was actually 15-minute. In terms of breaking out yesterday in New York, it was trending up on the 15-minute. That has weakened. Now it's gone. It's into consolidation. And I don't see much that's going to stop it from just going back to where it came from yesterday. If it was going to break out and hold, it would be above 96 now, and it isn't. So for it to go, question no more is just where does it go next? Does it pull back and continue consolidation? As this is moving through from the lows, starting to flip some of the lower time frame levels, starting to build a little bit of bullish structure, but running into major resistance, big volume spikes. I don't think price can get back above that based on the reaction post squeeze. So expectation now would be, especially with 95k unable to hold, that we go back lower. How far? It depends on the true demand from yesterday's move. Before that, we had a solid day of inflows. Also seeing that during that run up, before the actual close, there was high volume all throughout the session on Coinbase. So there's big volume on Coinbase, as we saw those high inflows as well, and that was right through until the end of the session. Now the final push came after the close. Main thing though to watch would be this aggressive buying that was going on during New York, particularly on Coinbase, because we'd seen for a number of days that there was a lack of buying. And so I'll be watching this. It's actually very similar to a move we'd seen a few weeks back, where I think it was back in December, we'd seen some aggressive buying through Coinbase going into one of the end of session moves. It may well have been this one. I'll have to go back and double check. But we'd seen some heavy buying in Coinbase. I was here actually. Yeah, this was it. So it was this push we made back in December where our price came back up. And after consolidating near the lows, so again, same thing, price here to lower, and then we saw a nice big push through towards the end of New York session with push higher after the close, and then price could not hold it and ended up reverting back. And the levels to watch back then, because on that day, I believe, that was the 11th of December. You'll be able to see this here. Around those days, we'd seen some inflows as well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. December. So 233 in, and then no, there's no significant flows. There's just significant volume. So I remember that day watching for the New York session, leading up to it there. And when we came back following day, and none of those levels could provide any support beyond a temporary hold as a sign of lower. So point being, the aggressive buying on Coinbase is not just a good thing by itself. It's only good if there's follow through, which there has not been. There was a final squeeze which happened after the close, and since that everything has been just weakness. Retest in 96, which is the inside week level, consolidate sideways, mark down, consolidate sideways. So in 15-minute, rolling over slowly. Question is more so, where does this come back into if there's going to be consolidation? Because it has also flipped these levels now. It's been spending time flattening out. Most of these pushes prior were either in bearish markets, just straight off the lows, reverting, making slight new highs but not holding. Whereas this has been coming out of a base around that 90k level, moving up, pulling back into it, holding above 90. So it's the first time there's really built solid structure here, coming off of a decent consolidation, expanding out of it, holding on the pullback. So reversion at lower time frame, I think, is pretty much nailed on at this point. Question is just what happens after. If we come back down, and maybe I'll just hold and go higher. I think that's really the point of this move. I think has reached a liquidity level where it's going to reverse from. You'll see this pretty heavy sell pressure now, one-sided, probably no bounce. It'll just stair step lower. It's whether that leads to the beginning of a top, which actually takes us down into the 80s or towards the early open, or is just part of this ongoing consolidation. So what I'll be watching is if price makes its way back to this level, does it hold up? Does it get bid up again? That's really what you'll be looking at for bulls, is the push up, reverts back, but then the buyers show up again where they were previously supporting it. I think that's the way this will probably go if it's going higher. And if not, you'll see weakness through 92, 91k. As for the rest, they are, again, you can see, much weaker. No demand there. Everything else rolling over, showing that there's no actual demand outside of just the squeeze. And it's still too early for any sustainable breakouts. But that's exactly what you want to see for things like Total 3, as I mentioned. This consolidation, pulling back, holding, pushing back up, this is all good stuff if it just continues to base. You want to see it spend a good bit of time in here and actually build a base to break out from. It's only bad if it ends up losing this. If you reverse all of this, you're back down there, then that's just it. It was just a short pop higher and we're going lower. So reasons now for pullbacks is it's not actually an uptrend. It's first retest in a bearish downtrend for everything. This is not a bullish trend yet. It's moved off the lows and is consolidating. That will be potentially the beginning. You know, look at this as potentially a first leg, and even the same for Bitcoin. This is not an uptrend. This is just moving towards a resistance, still in sideways, with higher lows, but you don't have anything there that you would call an uptrend yet. It's just consolidation, and it's trying to break out from it. Unless you see some more impulsive action that holds and consolidates, then it's just going to be this continued sideways and then higher. So if there's strong follow through, that's more of a sign of price breaking away for potential continuation move, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's just a underside retest. When you're tested, also the 100 EMA, all the EMAs bearish, 50, 100, 200 are bearish formation, and you'll just keep seeing these levels get sold into as price is not bullish. But when it bumps, people are going to FOMO long. It's more the pullbacks you're looking at. Same as Monday, touched the highs, pulled back, wasn't bearish, came back at a higher low, held up, took out these highs. Now that may just be people were thinking this is the top, shorting, over a bunch of shorts, they get blown out, and that's it. That seems to be what it is. There was a build up of shorts, they got squeezed out. It's possibly just this first push of the year, taking out the stops of that, in which case, price staying back below that level is the real indication. Once you start seeing hourly closes below that, which you may see right now, That's more so. Today also got Supreme Court decision is supposed to be happening for Trump tariffs. It was delayed from last week. I think there's now a greater probability of a pullback happening. You got the Powell news and the potential bearish catalyst on Monday. Price reacted positively, got bought up, but then Tuesday we reversed that. And this consolidation at the highs looks like it's going to be set to finally have a more sustained pullback. And same as NQ, touching that 26,000, continues to reject off it. And it may well keep consolidating slowly sideways, but it seems there's room now for a little bit of downside. Some of the low caps and the mid caps and low caps that were previously leading have run into a little bit of resistance on the way out, but nothing bad there. They're still fine above the highs. So imagine dips will still get bought. Gold continuing higher, silver continuing higher, and the dollar looks set for higher as well, consolidating after failing to sell off once more. So it's all set up for what's going to happen today with these Supreme Court rulings. I think the odds are going to stay the same, yeah, 27%. Pretty much the same as it has been. It was like 25% or something. So most likely there's going to be a ruling against tariffs, saying that they're not legal or whatever, constitutional, but it's really going to be the potential for volatility around that that's going to create the movement today if there are headlines. That's also part of what we saw on Friday. If you remember, Friday was supposed to be the day for that, which was over here. Friday we saw that spike within this consolidation for BTC. And we also saw stocks moving higher on that as well here. So these pushes were Friday when it was announced that the Supreme Court ruling wasn't happening, but it was being delayed. And so the markets released some of that upside as they'd been most likely had some shorts or some volatility hedging going into that event. Then it didn't happen, released, pushed it upside, volatility dropped off. But now we're seeing it pick back up. And the VIX has been rising, steadily rising, and that's usually a precursor to downside moves, which we're seeing. So I think probably we're going to see a red day today and likely continuation of these initial moves lower. And I think BTC is going to be part of that. Once now that it's lost 95k, I think that triggers it to go and retrace its move. And we'll just see where it settles if it does come back down to those lows. Should be. There's also PPI inflation an hour before the New York Open, 1:30 UTC, and then the Supreme Court stuff is supposed to be 3 p.m. That's meant to be when it starts, 10 a.m. in New York time. But you'll see that as the headlines drop. GM.
Good morning, sunshine.
Welcome to the real world.
GM. Right, so trade of the day. I think we go all the way back down, most likely, but from a perspective of trades, I think that BTC is probably going to have some volatility potential, especially during the New York session with these tariffs and everything. So it may and possibly will just unwind straight down. If so, the opportunities would come more from a short-term scalp basis, but to actually get trade, the direction I'll be watching would be, first of all, this is the VWAP intraday. Main thing would be around this, you've PPI at 1:30, and you've got the Supreme Court stuff, which starts at 3, but it can go all day. It's like when they convene to talk and meet. So there could be headlines dropping about this tariff stuff at any point. So with those catalysts, and with price slowly dropping, I think that we're likely to see some kind of volatility that can give a better entry, either higher around the daily open, possibly even pushing further than that. Main thing is just that with the volatility coming, with the potential of headlines, both PPI and the Supreme Court stuff, it's not somewhere that I would chase into shorts here. There's a trigger there on that close, could have a short, could have a stop at the daily open. I just know that is that size of a stop, that 0.6%, this small narrow range off the open is way too liable to get hit with the catalyst coming today. The potential for that volatility, the potential for that news event is too great. And of course, it could all just be bullish. Maybe it's going to build up and just go higher. I don't think so based on the nature of the move and the way it's filling back in, but it is also still in a rising trend. So it's not somewhere to be too aggressive on the short side unless there is a clear, obvious retest. That's the main thing. We've seen after the spike, which was mostly just a squeeze, Bybit went significantly higher. So Bybit went all the way up to 96.6. Coinbase peaked at 96.2. So mostly overextended short positioning. your first retest, and then the rest of this has been mostly low volatility, low volume, overnight kind of drift. So I'd like to see some proper retest for a trade entry. Get a proper retest in 96, which probably comes from going lower. You probably go lower first, and then you get a run up into it. Start to see that, and that's going to have the same effect, except it's going to flip the 1 hour trend bearish. It's going to give more confidence with a retest, and it's going to set this up better for an actual reversion. So definitely looking for a short on BTC, but certainly not looking to chase in here. So if we get anything above the daily open, get towards 96 again, all we see, I want to see a nice strong squeeze. I want to see a nice low time frame rally driven by probably some headline that leaves an inefficiency that offers an opportunity to enter in a better spot, rather than right here where really you'd have to have your stop at this wick high, which I don't think gets taken out, but there's all this room for price to test any of these levels in between, which can give much better entry points. So I'm going to give it some time. I don't think this is going to just sell off as simply as it seems, unless we have the right trigger at the right time. So PPI maybe, but I would say more so today is going to rest on the Supreme Court stuff. And I don't think the bad news is going to make the market down or good news go up. It's all expectations versus reality. Expectation is more about 75% probability that they're going to reject Trump's tariffs. So anything other than that would be a shock, and it's kind of interesting because the surprise would be that they approve. It's 27%, so obviously it's less likely that they approve the tariffs and say the tariffs are constitutional or fine or whatever, which then would justify what is supposed to be bad for the markets, because you all remember the market's selling off because of tariffs. So if they then come in and say these are all totally fine, feel free to go and fucking smash a bunch more in. How's the market going to react to that? It's this funny spot that we're in. And I think no matter what happens, any dips get bought until we see signs that that's not happening. You saw it with the Powell stuff. You can see it with this. I don't so much mean on crypto because Bitcoin's not developed a trend yet, but I see in stocks that bad news is getting bought up, dips are getting bought. No, I still think it's a spot where you don't want to be too aggressive. Like I think this, like I said, with the VIX rising and everything else, this isn't a great spot. This is like the exact type of setup that would lead to one of those big flush candles, which then gets bought up and you end up going higher. It's that kind of 1 day flush that today potentially sets up for, which I think gets bought up. I'm not in the camp of this selling off any deeper yet. I think that the reaction you can see to those, to Powell's speech and everything else would tell you that the market still just thinks that US capital markets, money needs to go into them because there's going to be so much investment piled in this year that there's really no other game in town. And really markets all across the world, but just in general, especially with the US defense wanting to increase the budget to $1.5 trillion, all this stuff Trump's going to be doing, all this talk about lowering rates, credit card cap, all this shit, everything that's been talked about, it's all just a different ways of saying the same thing, which is that we're going to print and raise money for investment into US industry. That's it. The Democrats print loads of money and they usually put it towards government programs, and the Republicans print loads of money and put it towards the private sector. It's really that simple. So it's good for Wall Street, good for those big companies, good for contractors who get contracts with defense or whatever, and it seems like that's just going to be the way it is. They're going to run it hot. Lots of inflation will come off the back of it, but trying to outpace that with growth. So I think that's why you see any of these dips get bought. That's why Bitcoin would have a floor under it with the inflation side of things. Gold just keeps rising, and this isn't going to last forever, but for now, the regime hasn't changed. So BTC not yet trending, not breaking out, but starting to build nicely that way. Stocks keep getting bid. Any pullbacks should be short-term positioning flush only, and we'll see how it goes today. Big day of headlines. GM.
A lot of market news, but I think the market's gonna move pretty cleanly today. In terms of what I'm seeing is that having this consolidation, right, we're in this range, so I'm looking for a price to break out a range at 9:30, 1 minute system to confirm, and then we take our long or short position, whichever way our system tells us to. And this is good that we're staying in this range, so we're building up to make a move for 9:30. So I'm gonna promise to follow my risk rules today, and that was my rules. Just to explain: breakout, close candle above out of that range, the 15-minute chart. 1 minute chart confirms its trend, strongly trending, watching the order flows, watching the market regime, and yeah. Promise to follow my risk management rules. My risk management rules, as we know, 250 per trade. And I'm only going to take 2 trades today. If my rules are there, if my system is there, of course. So yesterday's trade, we took a long right at like 11:50. It got stopped out. So today we're not going to take any trades towards our close off session, which is around 12. Like 12 p.m. we pretty much stop trading. So we're not going to take any trades late into the session. We want a couple early trades to be in that trend. And yeah. So I'm going to be careful about doing that again. Make sure our brackets are on. Everything looks good. Everything is set up. We showed up. We're here for the day. In terms of news today, I guess we got a lot of news. about to open in a minute. Thirty seconds. Markets open. We might start trending down on M and Q. Looks like M and Q is trending.
Order filled. Order filled.
What?
Order filled. Order filled.
one loss. Should have waited for our market close. Yeah, we gotta wait for that candle close, Kai. What the hell? Just be patient. As long as I'm patient, my system will play out. And that's where my edge is when, like, the probabilities are in my favor when I'm patient and I wait for that confirmed candle close. Once that confirmed candle close and we break out into either direction of the range, because we don't want to be getting wicked out like that, because we entered a short and got wicked, like right here. So we just gotta wait for that confirmed candle close. Just wait 8 minutes to see if we close on either direction. So what we want to do is we want to catch the next trend on the 15-minute chart, right? So we can begin its trend like down here, or we can start the trend up. Either way, it's most likely going to break out unless it continues to consolidate. So if we close in any of these ranges, this range low or range high, then that's most likely the direction that we're going to trend. And that's the move we want to catch. So that's what I'm going to wait for. That's what I'm going to be patient for. Until then, there's nothing to do. $5 minutes. Let's see which direction this candle closes. If it's in favors of the bears or in favor of the bulls. So far, it's in favor of the bears. Just gotta wait for 5 minutes.
Order filled.
We're in for shorts on ES. It's looking like a good short setup. This is a good short setup. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then so be it. But this is a good short setup. I'm happy with this trade. First trade was a little iffy. This trade is a lot better. Trending strongly. Bears are in control. This is a lot better. I'm way more happier with this setup. I'm way happier with this setup. Bears are in control. We're getting ready to move stop to break even. If we look at the order flows, trending above 1.2, close below the range, getting ready to trend. Weak pullbacks. We had a wick. There's nothing I can do, man. I did my part, bruh. Just gotta remain calm. What's meant for me is meant for me. I followed my systems. I continue to do my routine. I show up every day. I wake up every day. I'm here. I'm working hard. I know I deserve this. I know I deserve this. So, you know, it could just be the probabilities playing out.
Order filled.
We got stopped out. And that's fine. It's honestly fine. It's fine. Should probably wait for this next candle close if you want to take another trade. I mean, we're trending down still, but like we're making a strong retracement, so how strong is the trend really?
Order filled.
We're in for shorts again. This looks like a healthy retracement. It's like wicked off that 50% level, so that's where our stop loss is, 50%. And let's take another picture. Break even is at 6955. So we'll see what price wants to do. Nice wick rejection. Strong push down. Bears are in control. Order flows is kind of in favor of the buyers, but it does just look like a little pullback. Well, we just have to wait and see. Like, honestly, guys, we're trading on the funded. It's tough, but we just have to trust the process because take it day by day. I've been following my process every single day, so I trust myself to just continue following the process, and regardless, this has to be my last trade for the day, so I'm just gonna drink some water, bruh, and like press the button. I made my decision. I made my decision for shorts. There's nothing more I can do now. So I'll set my alerts because I just kind of want to walk away. Where are my alerts? Alright, we can move to break even now. So we're in for risk free. So I would like to see a lower low happen. We're aiming for 30 points or any divergence in price. 6931, let's see where that is on the chart. 6931. 6931. Oh yeah, we could easily reach that level, if not more.